Hello people, welcome back to the channel. It's LFC Plavi here, and today I just wanted to share the good news about Liverpool's current form. It's international break, and I think this is a good time for us to have a reflection of what Liverpool's current position means for the rest of the season. We've had 3 losses in a row before the international break, losing against Crystal Palace, Galatasaray, and Chelsea. The loss against Crystal Palace and Chelsea have some similarities in terms of when we conceded the losing goal in the dying embers of the game. Crystal Palace scored a second goal through a set piece, a throw-in. Chelsea, on the other hand, even though they also scored in the dying embers of the game, it was through proper build-up. Right from their goalkeeper, they moved through our midfield, got into the final third, and orchestrated a chance, an opening. So those were 2 different types of goals that we've conceded, even though they came in and around the same time where the game was almost over. Now, the thing that I see about this particular Liverpool team is not the lack of effort. In fact, I don't even think it is because of the new players that have arrived. Because, as Swart himself has mentioned several times in his interviews, towards the end of last season, we started seeing some signs of the team where we weren't able to hold on to leads. We weren't at 100%. The players, the team weren't playing at exactly 100%, even before we won the league. And after we won the league, we saw that we went up a goal or 2 in the last 4 games. I think in most of the games we went up a goal and then we conceded goals and lost it, especially against Brighton. We experienced that against Brighton. So this is something that I think started towards the end of last season. And in my view, even if we had maintained the same squad and hadn't brought in anyone, I think the start of this season would have been a bit tricky. In fact, I think the new signings have helped in getting us over the line in the first 5 games of the season. Because I didn't expect, before a ball was kicked, that Liverpool will win the first 5 games. I expected us to win 3 and draw 2. Especially the games against Newcastle and Arsenal, I expected us to draw those 2 games. So the fact that we won those 2 games, for me, exceeded my expectations. And I think Slot also said the same thing, that the team has far exceeded his expectations for the start of the season. So for the last 2 games that we played in the Premier League against Crystal Palace and Chelsea, losing those 2 games, I think to a large extent, if you look at the whole picture, it balances out. Because I was expecting that we would drop 4 points in the first 5 and maybe against Chelsea get a draw as well and win against Crystal Palace. That was my expectation. So that would have been 6 points lost. By winning maybe, so how many games? So we would have won 4 and drawn 3 if that expectation that I had come true. Then we would have won 4, drawn 3, and that will give us the same points as we have right now. So for me, I think I can't be too disappointed, even though it's quite disappointing to lose 3 games in a row. I can't be too disappointed because at the start of the season, I didn't expect things to go so smoothly. Is it better to draw than to lose? I think sometimes in the big scheme of things, losing might be better than drawing several games in a row. So, or losing one and winning the next game might be better than drawing 2 games in a row. So, I think we need to put perspective on this. Now, the next thing I want to move on to is the implications of these last few results for the rest of the season. What does it say about the rest of the season, really? Can we really say something about what the end of the season will bring? Can we say something about who is going to win the Premier League? For me, absolutely not. I've seen a number of Liverpool fans, pundits. I actually just saw a video of Danny Murphy saying that Arsenal are favourites. And I think that is a big mistake, because I don't think a lot has changed since the beginning of the season. So if we started the season, or if anyone went into the season thinking that Liverpool were favourites, I don't think now there's enough evidence for anyone to say that Liverpool are no more favourites. One thing we should keep in mind is that Arsenal have won games, they've kept clean sheets, but they've scored a lot of their goals from set pieces. And when I say set pieces, what I actually mean is corners, not set pieces in general, because they don't score a lot of goals from set pieces apart from corners. So it's just corners, really, that we are talking about. And the same reason why we said at the beginning of the season that Liverpool winning games in the last or in the dying embers of the game is not sustainable, I think that applies to scoring goals from corners. It is not sustainable. So I wouldn't judge the entire season based on the first 7 games of the season. For me, I think that you earn the right to be counted as a title contender in the first 10 to 15 games of the season. So I will still wait. I'm not saying that Liverpool are favourites or Arsenal are favourites. At the beginning of the season, I thought Liverpool were favourites just because of the coach we have, Arne Slot. He's shown that he can win the league. We have players who have won it before and shown that they can go again. And the fact that we brought in quality, top quality up front, because I think winning the league requires you to be on the front foot, requires you to score goals. So that is why I put Liverpool as favourite, and I wouldn't change that now because of what has happened in the last few games. But what I do recognize is that we need to improve. Liverpool need to improve. We can't continue like this. If we continue like this for the next, say, 3 to 4 games, then it is going to be a very, very difficult task to try and get anywhere close to winning the league again. So that is what I'll say. I'll still give myself 4 to 5 games to reassess how the team is doing. And I think that after this international break, we can actually do that assessment. So for me, what Liverpool needs to do to remain in the hunt for the Premier League is to continually be in and around the top of the table. In my assessment, if Liverpool are still within 6 points of the top. Within 6 points of the top. By December, it is not over yet. If we are not more than 6 points adrift from the top, then I don't think it is over, because the way I see it, we are going to claw it back. The team is going to be better. Things are going to gel a lot more further down the line. After the December period, in January, I think this team is going to kick on. I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool have a similar season as what PSG had last season, where they started quite slowly. Things weren't working very well for them in the first half of the season, but in the second half of the season, from January onwards, the team kicked on. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. And this has happened to Liverpool in recent years. I say this because in the year after Liverpool won the league in 2019-2020, when Klopp was the manager, we saw that the season right after we won the Premier League, we didn't start well. A lot of people attribute that poor season from Liverpool after winning the league to injuries, but I don't think it was because of the injuries. We started seeing problems in the team even before Van Dijk got his ACL. Don't forget that in that season, we lost to Aston Villa 7-1 or so. When Van Dijk was still playing, we had Fabinho, we had Henderson, we had all our defenders present, and we lost 7-1. And for me, that game was quite similar to the game we played against Crystal Palace. The only difference is that Crystal Palace failed to put their chances away. We could have conceded 7 in that game. So the fact that we didn't play well in that game, Crystal Palace had enough chances to put us away by 4 or 5 goals, but it still didn't happen. In that season, we bounced back very late on. Maybe it was around February, March when we really bounced back. But we bounced back well enough to finish 3rd place in that season. So I think that for this particular season, we haven't been that bad. We are still in and around the conversation to win the Premier League. And as I said, if we are still within 6 points of the top, then it is going to be an uphill battle for anyone who wants to win the league. They would have to really put some separation between themselves and us for them to win the league, because later on down the line, this team will bounce back and they are going to put together a winning streak that most teams will not be able to live with. So I wouldn't change anything about my expectations for the season and declare Arsenal as favorites, because it is Arsenal, and we've seen what Arsenal's track record is when it comes to competing for the league. They are just 1 point ahead. So for me, I haven't seen anything that suggests, I don't have enough evidence to be able to conclude that Arsenal are favorites to win the league. They are contenders for sure, but I think until we've played about 10 to 15 games and seen that the gap is much wider than we can ever claw back, I wouldn't make that conclusion. So for me, that is some positive news. That is something encouraging that I think we can hold on to. And in terms of correcting Liverpool's form right now, I don't think any of us as fans are in a better position than Slot and his backroom staff to figure out what the best way to proceed is. There are problems in the team for sure. I would accept that. The pressing, the way we press as a team, is not coordinated. It's not good enough. We got overloaded in the midfield against Chelsea. Maresca made sure of that. He put players in certain areas where our midfielders didn't know who to mark because they were outnumbered. That is what happened for the first goal from Caicedo. Also, in our attack, when we are building up, it's difficult for us to move through the gears from the defense to midfield and to attack. We are not creating as many chances as we normally would want to create. And when we do create those chances, we fail to put them away. So those are the issues. Those are the problems that I think we are facing. Also, individuals are not playing at their best. And that is not going to continue for the entire season. So unless there are injuries, touch wood, that is the only reason why I think this Liverpool team doesn't bounce back. Injuries would be the main reason why the team may not be able to bounce back. But if we can keep players fit and keep working hard, I think that we will bounce back towards the second half of the season. So that's my take on how things are so far. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like. If you are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Also comment down below. Let me know your thoughts about how Liverpool is doing this season and how you think the season is going to go for us. Thank you, and I'll see you.